Welcome to UNCUT with Why podcast, where we discuss topics that helps, harms, and honor our community. We speak unapologetically and say everything that y'all are afraid to say. Here we're going to tell the truth uncut. Now let's talk. Welcome back to UNCUT with Why podcast. Today we have Katrina Butler in the building. She's a resilient woman who has transformed life's challenges into opportunities to inspire and aid others facing similar hardships. As the founder of Different Souls on One Accord and nonprofit So Far So Close, her organizations are dedicated to supporting individuals in their journeys toward freedom and safety through several pathways. One of them is advocating for the prevention of incarceration for maternal and domestic violence victims, supporting women and children in finding safe escape routes from domestic violence relationships. She's a life coach, restorative justice, reentry and post-conviction resource assistant. She does public speaking, and she's the author of children's books. Let's welcome Katrina Butler.
Thank you.
Hi, love. So happy to have y'all here. I do want to mention that she is a friend of mine, and I'm so grateful for the support today. Yes. You got a lot of things going on here. We're going to start off. We want to talk about your children books because I know that's very special to you. Can you tell us about that?
Yes. So I have a children's book series.
Okay.
And then they go through this different phases of children, and teaches children how to cope through incarceration of a loved one. A lot of times, our children are told, don't say anything or act like that person that's incarcerated. That's a taboo conversation. But for those children where their family members people may see that, okay, my family member got arrested and it's on television, or they notice that their loved one is not coming to school with them anymore. Things like that, like around the community, it's known that family member has been incarcerated, and because of that, our children go through a lot of stressors, in life and everything. A lot of times we put our focus on the incarcerated person and we forget about the children and what all they have gone through. So I have it's a 3-series book.
Okay.
So the first one is So Far So Close.
So Far So Close.
Love Never Leaves, and then finally, Love Will Guide You Home. And they're built on biblical and restorative justice principles, all centered around God's love and how God's love can transform anything. And what we have to do is just stick together through the challenges of life. And then to follow up for teaching God, this is very special because I have the restorative justice reflective journals.
Okay.
And what's great about these is that if you have a person that's incarcerated and they have a child at home, they each is an 8-week course, and they will fill out this workbook, reflective journal for 8 weeks, and at the end, they would exchange it. So the child would send it to the mother or the father, then the mother or father would send it to the child, and it opens the dialogue, especially when incarceration, people are down for so long and they just don't know how to talk to their children anymore. Maybe it's been years before they talk to their children. So this is a way to open that a pathway to open that dialogue between them.
So let me ask about the children books. You said this is a book for like the kids. Wow, like is it like a coping mechanism for them?
It is a coping book. It's through the voice of a child, a young boy, but it speaks very, very loudly to society. It speaks to the parents and also anybody that is attached to the child, teachers, neighbors, friends, but yeah, it's through a child's voice, and I did this in homage to my children.
And yes, we want to talk about that because I know there's an inspiration behind this.
Yes.
So, you were incarcerated. Could you tell us what led to that?
Yes. So, I stole money. I was a domestic violence victim at the time. I stole money to get out of a domestic violence relationship. One thing led to the other, and I ended up serving close to 5 years inside. And through the advocacy work of the Georgia Coalition Against Domestic Violence, and between them, and then also with Krista Moon, who now serves as the Director of Clemency for Department of Corrections. So my application was approved, and I was able to come home.
Yes. I that's a long time, though. Almost 5 years away from your children. So I want to ask, about the domestic violence, because you said you stole to get away. So how long were you involved with domestic violence?
Oh, it wasn't just one relationship. I had several.
This is a pattern?
Toxic. It was a bad toxic pattern. When you start domestic violence, and then when you don't have that, self-worth about yourself to stand up, you think that this is all that you're worthy of. You're not worthy of anything else. So you start to normalize the toxicity that's happening in these relationships. You hear people say, oh, they're just like that. And this is not a specific gender-based violence. This can be, you have men that are victims, you have women that are victims, you have children that are victims. It doesn't have to always happen with an intimate relationship. It can be between an employee and employer. You know what I'm saying? It's just being able to say, okay, what is healthy for me? What is conducive to my growth? And be able to distinguish between healthy love versus unhealthy love. And it, depending on who it is, that can change. That definition can change.
That's true. So this last relationship you had, the one that I guess pushed you into, breaking the law. So this one, what was this one like? Is this your children's father?
No, so that was not my last relationship. So, so it was my twin's father. So
Your
yes,
twin's father,
that
the
was
youngest, right?
Yeah, that's the one where I decided to steal money to to get away.
Did you feel like that was the only way? You didn't have no resources, no one else to go to, family?
And see, this is the thing about domestic violence, what I tell people, try to make people understand. There may have been resources, but then if that's not something that is readily spoken about, and what I'm saying, in society, like when you're in the midst of trauma, it's hard to think, well, how to rationalize. Well, what can I do? Who can I go to? So at that point, if I had to tap back into myself at that point, I wasn't thinking about resources.
Okay, you just wanted to get it done yourself.
I just wanted to live, because at one point, in that particular relationship, I honestly did not think I was going to live. I remember sitting on the side, of the couch and praying to God and saying, God, if something happens to me, please take care of my children. Please make sure my children are okay. So, that's what the message, it's just about making it from one day to another day. And that's, a lot of people feel like, okay, it was your choice to stay. It was your choice to live. But there's so many facets of abuse, like financial abuse, where somebody is the breadwinner. Okay. Where are you going to go? Where are you going to you're just going to pack up your stuff and say, I'm gone? Well, where are you going to go?
Okay, so now we're getting to the root of the money then, because you relied on him for money. So your escape was, let me go steal this money so I can get my children out of here.
Right.
And were you successful with that?
No. Obviously no. I laugh now. I can laugh at it now.
Right.
I tell people, even when I was inside, like, I would have been the first one on that show where it says the bag. I hate to say this word, but they use the word criminal. Some people that don't know how to commit
be a criminal.
Yeah, and they do foolish things and end up incriminating themselves. I said I would have won a place on that show.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, you do things out of desperation and you don't think. And once you get your hand, stuck and you're in a situation, as the Bible says, you become a slave to your sin.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You end up, things just start going and you're like, okay, I'm in a situation now. Now what do I do? You have people that's just like about it, and they're just like, okay, well, I'm just going to go hard and I'm just going to do this and that. But when you are consumed with just a dark place, and everywhere you go, you nothing looks like a way out for you.
Okay.
So it's hard to make decisions, logical decisions, and you do impulsive things, emotional things that are not, good for you or your children.
Okay, so speaking of that, so once you did commit your crime, your kids were left behind to like kind of pretty much handle everything. Did you have like attorneys in place? Like, did you have money for that in place? Was this a responsibility on your children?
Oh,
Like,
no, it was totally on my children.
it was totally on your kids.
It was totally on my children. And, my kids are so, so amazing. Really, really resilient children. And I was very, very close. As they say, my children are on my hip all the time. Where you saw me, you saw my children. And just through our relationship with, I homeschooled them. I remember my daughter says, "Mommy, when something happens, we say, well, what would Mommy do? We're like little Katrinas around here, And
That's your oldest?
No, that was my middle daughter.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was just that they took those life lessons that they were able to hold on to that I gave them, where inside your mind starts going, and society tells you you're not a good mom anymore.
That's what
You're
was
not.
feeling.
You're not even a woman anymore. Like who was I to come home to and be to my children? You know what I'm saying? Again, how can I show up and be the mother that they need, the friend that they need, and just that space of peace and love that they need. But they went through, not just them. You hear the stories all the time. People think that a lot of time once you go inside, then that relationship with your children are totally cut off.
Yeah.
About that. And the system makes it very, very challenging. One of my books, especially the first one, it speaks about the importance of communication, to take advantage, even though, yes, we know they are taking advantage of us through making us pay for phone calls, the financial hardships of visits, the video visit, all these things like that. But don't stop. Even if you have to write, don't
Send
stop.
cards.
Just say and push through it. Push through it. I can't tell you how many of my 15-minute phone calls did not go over well because of the time that lapsed in between. You know what I'm saying?
When you spoke to them again.
When I spoke to them again, and they're needing to tell me things, and I'm needing to tell them things, and it's just it makes it very, very hard and a stressful time. You're excited to speak to them, but it's so much to unpack.
Well, I want to go back because you did say, like your children was with you on your hip all the time. So this is very personal, but were they did they witness the domestic violence? Were they privy to it? Or
I mean, that's when you get with family violence or witness of domestic violence. You have some, and I thank God my children didn't fall back into that line or get in trouble themselves, But you see, even in my work and everything, domestic violence comes up all the time with men and women, what they witness to. And it goes through a very negative spiral in their life. It affects them negatively, But, the walls in our houses cried, you know what I'm saying? They cried and everything. And again, I have to, growing, coming back and really having that time to speak and deal with myself, it's been many times that I've had to apologize to my children.
I was just going to ask
what I'm saying? Because the fact that we're doing the best we can as mothers. Don't get that wrong. We're doing the best we can, but then yes, we also have to be accountable. But there's some things that we did that may have caused harm and hurt, and even is causing them, complex trauma in their lives. Things that they have to get over with and move to have a well-rounded life.
So at some time during this domestic violence, you felt responsible as the mother to let them know that this is not right? I mean, even though you still were staying in these relationships, but I mean, you had girls, so I know you had to be telling them this is not what you're supposed to be going through. Or were you not there yet to have that conversation?
Not necessarily having those conversations with them, but then if I did see something, then I would be vocal and say, hey, this is not the one. You know what I'm saying? This is not the person.
That they were with, you mean?
Yeah, them growing up and everything, yes. You try to do, again, I was a traumatized person, having those hard conversations. My thing was always just about protecting my children by any means necessary. That was even down to me deciding to do that crime. It was about protecting my children by any means necessary. And if I could have dug a hole and put them in a hole and covered them up from this world, I would have done that. You know what I'm saying? But that was just me being even inside. That was the thing that kept me being able to put one foot in front of the other.
So you kept your relationship with them throughout.
I tried. Yeah, I mean, this not make any incarceration systems, regardless of incarceration, okay, just living everyday life with the way how this world is, it's hard. It's in I always say, okay, this world is so sensitive right now, but it's not. It's sensitive because it's so unkind. We are taught to be scared of relating to one another. We have all these negative words that people put upon us that make us be afraid of what love is. We want to psychoanalyze others when they're too nice. When they say I'm loving or try to be loving towards you, oh, something's not right. This world makes you afraid of relating and opening yourself to love. And it's not the fact that, yes, love can be a scary thing and some people take advantage of that. But when you know who you are and you know what is best for you, and you stand on who, what's best for you, your boundaries, your goals, your values and everything, it can be a beautiful thing. You don't have to be afraid of it.
So therefore, you and your kids did keep a relationship, though.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah,
the best way we can. Anything, and going back to the point, saying anything can disrupt a relationship. Especially
not just incarceration.
Yeah,
correct?
not just incarceration, but yeah, the best way we possibly could. They took care of me while I was down, while I was gone and everything. And when I came home, most people say, "Oh, were you so excited when you came home?" And the thing that was going through my mind is, okay, what bills did I leave? What do I have to do my income tax? What do they?
All these years later.
You know what I'm saying? I went straight into that mommy mode. You know what I'm saying? Being the head of the house, I was single mom.
Oh, you jumped right back in. You didn't have to. You know how you have to go through that process to get to know your kids again, to see what has challenged them, what has changed the time you've been gone.
My role, I jumped back in.
You jump right back in.
My role.
The role.
So,
okay. As
so
a parent,
that's
mother.
different than your relationship. So as far as my relationship, yes, there was a lot of me sitting back, making space, and moving by invitation.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
That was respectful.
Of course, yeah, because their voice matters. And that was even one of the driving forces to my children's book, because I want children to know their voices matter, and me sitting back listening to, the crumbs with trauma. When people are traumatized, when they're dealing with a complex trauma, people expect, oh, what happened to you? And they expect to understand what happened to you in a 10, 15-minute conversation. It doesn't work that way. Trauma leaves breadcrumbs here and there. And then depending on what you block out, what you remember, it unfolds little by little, years. It's like an onion, and sometimes it takes years. Sometimes it takes a lifetime.
And you can pass it down to your children as well. So.
Right, but they're affected by it and everything. But so therefore, I had to be respectful to them. I was thankful, because you have a lot of people inside where their family give up on them.
That's true. And they don't even hear from them.
They don't hear from them.
What's going on with
them.
They
alienate them, ostracize them. You do not hear from them. So, I was thankful. I was thankful, one, that even though through what I've been through, that I was able to have the time in their life to build those biblical principles in them.
Oh,
you know what I'm
good.
saying? To be that mom, to champion behind them whatever goals and stuff that they had in life and everything. So, I was thankful to have those times.
And, I told you before we spoke about this, I told you I know a lot of young ladies that they still had the relationships with their kids when they came out, but there was a lot of disrespect. You can't tell me anything. You were gone. You're not my mama. I don't even really know you. So you didn't have to deal with that, because your children did see you, keep in touch with you, and when you came home, the respect was still there. Is that correct?
Yeah, the respect was there. One thing that I grew up on, by my parents, they always taught, I have a big family, it's 16 of us, four from my mom, and then my dad had 11 more, before my mom. But, Yeah, we've always grew around family.
Okay,
Always,
so y'all knew
I'm
that was
saying? So
big and respect.
family was important. I always stressed that, I'm saying, the importance of sticking together through family, because that was what was instilled into me, about family.
And also, neither one of your kids were separated, right? All the siblings stayed together while you were gone.
They stayed, my two oldest ones, they had children themselves. So, they had children themselves. So they kind of like had to deal with their family, their child, and everything. And the four youngest ones, they stuck together.
Okay, that was good because you would hate to have to, have them separated, and then now they got to learn each other too.
Right.
So, because I'm sure holding that together held you together.
And let me tell you, my children are so, and it's really in our bloodline. My children are so strong and resilient. Like,
Well, I wonder where they get that from.
they are so strong and resilient. Sometimes I say, you know what? I laugh because when I had my children, I said, God, I used to pray and say, God, make my children strong children. But when you get all of them in one space, that strength is so overpowering.
Oh, wow. Everybody's the head honcho.
Oh, yes.
Well, I do want to say that you did have this pattern of domestic violence. So it seems to me incarceration is the only thing that stopped that.
Yeah, and well, it was God using incarceration.
Okay.
Okay. So incarceration doesn't get the power here.
Okay. Touche. Okay.
It was God knowing that what I needed was to be able to be in a place where I can deal with who I was, and then also hear Him. During this time, the doors and opportunities that He opened up, for me while I was inside, the keeping and the covering of me while I was inside, or He was just doing a good work within me,
Which is what inspired your organization as well. Because your organization, which one is it so far so close? Is both of them are dedicated to domestic violence?
So far so close is that's focuses on domestic violence, women and children, and helping them once they flee the relationship, helping them find a safe place within that first 72 hours of escaping. And then for those incarcerated, being able to be there as a coach, a life coach, helping them with legal resources. And then if they choose to go public with their story, we do like a televised parole packet in partnership with Women Woke Within.
Okay.
So that's a global television network, and we work with the family members and the staff of Women Woke Within, and we just comb through what happened to them. Where did it start? Where did it come from? I'm really big on finding the roots, and through my training with getting my credentials as a certified trauma support specialist, that really that was such a blessing, because not only did it help me to see and focus on and understand the root causes of trauma, but it also I was able to understand myself.
I was just about to say, because like this is an organization all of like stem from everything you've been through. So there's no triggers in this for you? Like when you talk to these young ladies and they're experiencing some of the same things you had to overcome?
I wouldn't say triggers. I would say more empathy.
Okay, so you have healed then, if there's no triggers to it. So
I'm going to tell you this. Some people, they come, this is just for myself. When I came home, I always spoke. I always spoke about, my journey of incarceration, but that's not all who I am. I don't like to dwell on it, for too long, because like I said, it was just a tool that God used. But I would not be here if I was not here. I could not smile and laugh about it. I remember when I first came in, and when a lady says, have you gotten to the point where you can laugh about your crime? And I got so offended. I'm like, I am in here. I am away from my children. What are you going to laugh about? What is it to laugh about?
Right.
But, and now I can understand what she's saying. When you get to a place of healing, it rolls off your back. You know what I'm saying? That what I've gone through in my life, what my children have gone through in my life, that is not who we are today.
Okay.
We're in a whole nother light, in a whole nother space. We are standing in our best self, knowing that God's not done with us and that He's still growing and building us every day.
So I could safely say you have not been back in this type of relationship since you've been out.
No, I tell people all the time, you hear people that say, oh, I've I've had 2 years of sobriety, 3 years of sobriety. So I tell people I've had 8 years.
Oh, including the time that you were locked up.
I have been free of toxic relationships for 8 years, and I'm proud of that. I stand on that, and this is nothing. Thank you. This is nothing. I know a lot of men, get. I'm not saying upset, but they get worried, especially when that's not how they live or who they are, and I just want to say openly that we need our men back in these households. We need our men back in place as the head of the households and everything, because of what happens when the men are taken out, then you deal with this type of stuff, and you deal with the damage of a woman that's single. In the United States, they're saying that almost 40% of childbirths are born to single women. We got to fix that.
That's really
and
an issue.
When you think about the root, that's the root. We got to get our households back together. So, men, domestic violence isn't anything to be angry about or feel that you're being attacked. For me, I'm saying come home.
Yeah, we're
come
not here
home.
to judge.
Yeah, come
there's,
home.
like you said, there's
you're
a root
much
to that.
And even if that relationship doesn't work, still be an active part of your child's life. Find a way to where you can sit down and you and the mother can, co-parent together. It's possible. God is able.
So speaking of that, what is the relationship like with your abuser and the kids? Because the twins, that is their father, right?
Yeah, so he passed last year.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so, he passed.
Okay, so before that, did they, develop, nothing got fixed, nothing got worked out, nothing?
No.
And you had no more contact with him at all either?
Not at all.
Wow.
Not at all.
So you guys didn't even get a chance to, heal and move past
and
that.
That's the thing, I say the beauty, and when I talk about my children, it's not about, their children. We go through our things, but when I just thank God, because when that happened, it was a bittersweet for me, for
when he died.
Well, for the boys, for my children, because it was like they didn't have that father figure in their life at all. And when I brought that, I think I thought more about that than they did.
Okay, because they didn't know him.
Right.
Okay.
And so when I brought it to them, it's like, Mom, God is our father. We are good. And these were their words exactly. And they meant it and looked me square in my eye like, I'm good. God is our father. We have our pastor. We have our Heavenly Father. They're good. And when I say they're not on a point, they're doing great things as young men. I'm just so, so proud of them.
That's what I'm saying. People think that, let me see, I want to make sure I say this right without offending anyone. But like what you see is what you become.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily true.
No.
But like I said, I know you said they were young, so they didn't really grasp what was happening to you, right? Not the younger boys. I know the girls did. But the boys, they didn't really get to understand that their mom was being abused, did they? Were they at that age?
No. By the time we got out, they were about 4 or 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay. But, so that's good, though. But your girls as well, they're not choosing those type of men to have a relationship with.
No, I'm thankful. All my girls, my 3 oldest ones are in very good marriages. They send me pictures and stuff,
Mommy approved?
Oh, my God. Yes. I am just so, I'm happy, that they are living lives where they get to smile. And I tell people all the time, dealing with, you learn when you deal with challenges in life, you learn to take advantage of the small things and then to be grateful to small things. And so now when I'm able to smile and I recognize that I can smile, that I'm smiling, or I hear myself laughing, that means so much to me, because so many years I wasn't able to do that. And so when I see my girls, Mommy, look at this. This is where he took me. This is what he got from me. We're going to be moving here. We're going to do, and just telling me all the great things that they're experiencing in life. It's no other joy. It's no other joy to know that they are being taken care of by good men.
And that they chose a different path.
They chose, it was, we all go through relationship issues.
Yep.
But at the end of it all,
nobody's putting their hands on them, though.
No, at the end all, yes, God really opened the door and placed them with great people together, great relationships together.
So I know that there are women listening that are right now sitting in a relationship they cannot escape. You have an organization. Do you have anything you want to tell these ladies? Like, what can they do? A way out without, because I know a lot of people are scared because just like you said, they have nowhere to go, no resources. So if I leave, I'm going to be worse off than where I am today. That's how they feel. So they need to know that that's not the case. It's definitely better away. So what's one of the ways they can, try to start an escape plan?
Yeah. So the first thing, we have a code where I have with my ladies. Okay. The ones that that's through my program right now, and all they have to do is text a K to say I'm okay, or an N for I'm not okay.
Okay.
And they text it to 678-673-3009, and from there, then that's when the dialogue happens.
Everything is rolling.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So it's not about, I know a lot of times people want you to get on the phone and call, tell your story. No, I do know the power of being able to secretly text or secretly, use code words, when you're in those situations. I know at, bathrooms and stuff that they have, it's really good. People are really trying to tackle this, this whole bring awareness to domestic violence, and knowing that we we as women, and I hate to say it, we as sometimes as early as birth, we are looked at as a sexual object.
That's
true. What I'm
true.
saying? And
especially now.
Yeah, and it's really hard, to grow up and for a young girl to say, oh, look, stepping into who she is as a young woman and not knowing that they don't have to expose themselves, or they don't have to wear tight-fitting clothes to say, okay, look at me. They can just show up as who they are. And that's what we want women to know, that, no, you can be who you are. There's domestic violence hotline. If they go to sofarsoclose.org,
Okay.
the numbers on there, and just find subtle ways just to say, I need help.
Okay, what about the person that does not want to make the text, though? Like, is there anything you can say to them? Just give them some type of encouragement, because everybody ain't there yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, it's so hard when you're in that, because I could say all day saying, God, just know that you are loved. Just know that you're worthy. Know that you're somebody. But it falls on deaf ears because of what you are living in. There's a whole
complacent.
It's not necessarily complacent. It's almost, you're just living in a world where there's no light. You can't see the way out.
Meaning that you truly believe this is what life
This
is
is what what life is. It is complacency. You accept it in a sense, but then it's through giving up. Almost like you're walking around dead, and you don't know. You literally don't know how to fight for yourself, how to get out. And so for those people, those women and men that just don't know how, or don't have the strength, sometimes it comes to that. They don't have the strength to fight for themselves.
Well, let's give them a little bit of encouragement. So tell us about some of the ladies that you've helped escape and what life is like for them now.
My ladies are
yeah,
and if they're listening, they'll probably laugh. But I work with Purpose, Coach Purpose as well, and we spoil our ladies. We spoil them. They know that they could call my phone 2 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning, and just having that space to say, I'm not doing well today, or I feel like I'm going to lose it, or I feel like I'm going to go back, you know what I'm saying, or I give up, or I'm just going to give my children away. Because it makes it hard when you have children. I'm just going to give my children away, and I'm just going to move on, or I'm just going to, so that way I can deal with life how life wants to deal with me, So,
but you keep your families together.
I keep them together as much as possible. I fight against the systems. I fight against people that sit up there and say, well, she's just going to have to do this. Oh, she's being picky. And these are things that are being said when you're dealing with somebody of abuse, or they go into these shelters and they are further victimized.
Yeah.
By the rules, and it's just really I didn't ask for this. I never knew I was going to come home and say, okay, I'm going to deal with the things that I had to, deal with myself. I never asked for this. This all came in my lap, but it's also a learning curve for me. And I know we all do our best in this work, but there's no such thing as not being more kind. There's no such thing as
that's
being.
The reward they get.
That's
they
just
get sympathy. They get
kindness. They get a space. They get a active space where I'm with them. I stop. Okay. Yes, I am busy, but what's going on?
Yeah, because you help with a lot of resources, right? Like
I help with I help with a lot of resources. Whatever comes, it's different for every person, and I welcome that. I don't have a cookie cutter program.
I love that. I love that. So, like, if so and so might need clothes, you help with clothes. If so and so might need a job, you find job resources. Like, it just don't get no better than that. So, and it's sofarsoclose.org. Is that correct?
Sofarsoclose.org. Yes.
Okay. So, how do your kids feel about you being involved with this? Do they want you to be like, Mama, could you just let domestic violence go? Or they're glad and they support you?
No. They know that this is. I've given so much in my life. This is my time. And it's my legacy that I want to leave with them. However they choose to deal with it, whether they say no, we're not going to bother with this, or whatever, it's fine. But I want to leave behind a story for them.
And you have, especially with these books.
Yes.
Where can they find these books at?
They're available on Amazon, and you could just search So Far So Close, and it will pull up all the products.
Is this all of them, or are there more? Because I know you have like a lot of them, right?
Well, there's more in the making. I have a whole curriculum, but they can reach me through the website on that, sofarsoclose.org.
Okay.
But on Amazon, it's these 5 books. Yes.
Okay, and what about your social media? Where can they reach you at on social media?
Well, my social media, I haven't really, because of the privacy of So Far So Close, I really don't blast that too much.
Okay.
But I have a LLC where I build programs and cohorts for other nonprofits.
Like myself.
That's doing great work. So it is a project consultant. I also do human resource consultancy on there. So through that organization, is Different Souls on One Accord, and that's my social
Instagram
media.
And on Facebook.
Different Souls, the number 1 Accord.
Accord. Okay.
Yes.
Well, I do want to say this because I'm big on advertisement. I think there's a way you still can advertise So Far So Close without exploiting the ladies. No, because people need to know about this.
Yeah.
This is a resource that can save someone right now,
Yes.
So I do think you should do that. I do want to thank you for coming, Katrina. You're always here for me. You have my back so much. And, I love you. So, again, we can find these books on Amazon, correct?
Yes, and I do want to put out there that the proceeds from the books, it goes straight to the ladies. It goes to the program to take care of the ladies. It's not anything that I am making monies off or anything. Anything helps. There's also we need donations.
And where can they do that at?
It's also on the website where they can donate. Again, if a woman calls in after 3:00 or on the weekend or even at night, I had to find some place for them to go. Or if I don't find some place for them to go, they're sleeping outside. And I know we see a lot of people out there. That's an epidemic here, especially in Georgia. But I have to go to sleep knowing that there's a lady, or if she's in her car. And these are not just Georgian ladies. These are ladies that are coming from different states, fleeing from different states.
So if you have more
so
funding,
even if it's enough for a hotel stay,
room,
at $80 for a hotel stay, or they don't have a way to go to get food and stuff like that, $20 for food, $25 for a MARTA card so they can get around, places where clothes where they come with nothing but what's on their back, and they literally have no clothes for them or their children. So,
and I want to go on record with saying I know for a fact, y'all, she comes out of her own pocket to help a lot of people. I'm serious. She doesn't have no problem with doing it. This is not a monetary gain for her. So, yeah, this is to help these people that we all don't want to end up dead or, just beaten really bad to we don't even recognize them anymore. If we have a way of saving them by a small donation, let's please do that. So I want to thank my girl Katrina for coming through today. This means the world to me, and I hope to see you back again.
Yes.
We can talk about some lighter things or whatever. What's in the making for you? Do you have anything that we have to look forward? Besides, I know you said you have the curriculum coming. Anything else that we have to look forward to?
Just being great and doing God's work and everything. And I just want to encourage everyone, regardless if you understand, domestic violence or anything, but just, God deposits his love in our hearts, and just to operate out of that love, walk in God's love.
Absolutely. So I want to thank my sponsors at Terradome ENT. Great entertainment. Follow them on Terradome Entertainment on Instagram. I do want to leave you all with strength is found not in silence, but in the courage to speak up. Thank y'all for tuning in. I hope to see you again. I am a successful businesswoman. I have a business called Wigs Beyond. You can find that at Wigs, WIGSBEYOND 2024.com. I'm an author. I have a book called From a Pawn to a Queen, and I'm also an actress.
Terradome Entertainment. We turn your fear of dreaming into amazing realities. If your dream is to become a photographer, we have a nice intimate photo studio just for you. If you want to record that next hit song or do voiceover work, we have a state-of-the-art studio also for you. If you want to professionally record your own podcast, well, we have that too. Check us out at www.terradomeentertainment.com. We are the only ones to turn your fear of dreaming into amazing realities.